The Voice, a voter's perspective. We're supposed to vote in a referendum sometime later in this year to give the Aboriginals a voice in Parliament. And there's a no side and a yes side. And there's a big push to sort of embarrass people and to go along with the yes side regardless what we know now is wrong with the ongoing concerns in regards to the ongoing concerns about the outcomes for Aboriginals in general. Seeing as all social orders rely basically on the family as a unit that gives rise to well-behaved children, unless something is done about that right now amongst the Aboriginal people, or all people. There's about to be Aboriginal to affect the outcome of children. In fact, the Aboriginals suffer the same consequences of poor parenting as much as many of them the white population do. And it's kind of but it's accentuated in the newspapers, the behaviour of the Aboriginal people, rather than it being a national concern about lack of guidance from parents in regards to the bringing up of children. So what difference I do not understand for the life of me, understand what a difference a voice will make in Parliament other than to be able to disrupt Parliament by imposing views which I'm neither for or against. It depends on the point of view at the time from the Aboriginals that are in if they do make it to there, that the wise and good Aboriginals who are in the Parliament, what objections they make to policy or what policy they put forward, I won't make any judgment at all on that until I hear what they have to say. But before then, because none of them are saying do something about the lack of guidance from parents now, where's the leadership in this voice? Where is that? There are leaders in the voice who are all jockeying for positions to get within that what will become an establishment, justifiably so or not, in the Constitution. And many are saying it separates the races. I agree, it separates the races, and that should not be the case, because what affects children in general, like the lack of parental guidance, is not racial. It just goes across. It's all through society, and it's intergenerational. The third generation of breakdown of having a pretty secure family life is the result of that is chaos amongst the children now and the young people now, regardless whether they're black or white. It makes no difference, or Chinese or whatever. The result is always the same. Without the lack of guidance, without parental leadership. So where is the Aboriginal leaders, who I've got respect for? I must say that I've got respect for these people. I fully support them in a way, but I have some doubts about their guidance, if you like, if they can't speak out now on behalf of the Aboriginal people. Lead now, prove, in other words, by what you say or what you enact now, because we've all got open ears in regard to this. We all wish the Aboriginal people well. We don't wish them ill. We wish to sort the problems out. And it would then dissipate and would need a voice in the Parliament if the leaders now got together and said, this is the way it ought to be amongst Aboriginal people, and that was a guide to them. And by then you have a case for yes case. You enforce or strengthen the yes case. But if the leaders cannot say anything in regards to the bringing up of children, going to school, getting an education, etc., etc., if they can't say something about this delinquency amongst Aboriginal people, and they don't have to say Aboriginal, you can say people in general, the delinquency, unless they address that question, there's doubts about the reason or rationality of voting for a voice when there is plenty of time in between now and then to, as I said, enforce the idea that we should vote yes. Show that we're voting yes for something other than just another tokenistic means of sitting in a privileged position, then making judgments or putting forward ideas that are benefit the Aboriginal people, as if there's no urgency in these matters, as if it can wait next 6 or 7 months. Why does it have to wait so long before these people start? I'm sure if the Aboriginal leaders put forward now ideas and went out to the Aboriginal communities en masse and started saying you need to have these examples amongst the parents and of the people to bring about a better result for childhood and for youth in general. Unless that's happened, then I'm having difficulty seeing what is the point of it. And I'm a voter, and I suspect lots of voters are saying the same thing, are thinking the same thing. Why do they need a voice in Parliament? And why does it have to be this way? Why does it have to be this way? Why can't they just get into politics itself and become voices in Parliament? Aboriginals could easily form their own party and stand for election into Parliament and form another third party, like fourth party, alongside the Greens and become a party for reason. They could really change the direction of Australia for a far better way, in a way, if they understand the basics of economics. For example, household economics, how that affects everyone, basic housing, energy costs and stuff like that. If the Aborigines stood for in Parliament and then stood for Parliament itself in a party, they'd get a voice in Parliament, had more power than the one they want. So this voice in Parliament seems to be a tokenistic thing that at the moment, seeing as there's nothing, I haven't heard anything come from the honourable leaders of the Aboriginal community, who I deeply respect those people. I understand the struggles they've had and they see for their people. But until there's spoken words from these people about how this voice, before the voice happens, the dynamics that can be imparted upon the Aboriginal people by what can be said now, before this voice, will reinforce the message that we should vote yes. Otherwise, this doesn't seem a point in voting yes for something that we don't know, which seems to be vacuous at the moment. There doesn't seem to be any real solid foundations for it, because you can start right now. It urgently needs fixing from now, not in 6 months' time. What happens then? We establish a group of people, take another year to establish that, etc., etc. And time goes on where all those young people lead leadership now, not 2 or 3 years from now, where the accumulation of damage to these people carries on and builds up, and more young people end up in jail on the wrong side of the tracks. Surely it's more urgent than a referendum that the people, the Aboriginal leaders, speak out and go into the Aboriginal communities and start asking them to behave themselves in a way that then reinforces the idea voting yes for a voice in Parliament is worth the people's while.